Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to learn how to read lies in the rough. Now, the rough's finally growing out here in Colorado. We have a mix of POA and bentgrass. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about how the grass affects your ability to hit the golf. So the first thing you have to understand is the difference between the ball sitting up, which is pretty simple to identify, right? Where you can get underneath it. And then the difference between that and sitting down, where grass is going to get between the ball and the club head. See that? And then varying degrees of that, given how the rough is laying, if it's going against the grain, if it's going with the grain, or if it's standing up like this. Hey guys, thanks again for watching my content. I appreciate it. And I love the fact that you guys are subscribing to learn more. But understand, I'm an independent content creator. It's just me out here. I'm not paying anyone to do my edits. So if you could consider at least subscribing, or even better, joining my membership, you won't be unhappy. I have a ton of content. It's really good stuff. All the way from putting to full swing to mental game to just how to enjoy yourself on a golf course. All that stuff for $10 a month from a guy that's been playing the game for 30 plus years. Played pro. I've won as an amateur. I know what I'm talking about. So give me a shot, guys. I'd appreciate it. All right. Enjoy the content. So the most important thing that we can do is we can learn how to visualize the difference between a ball sitting up, how it's going to come out, and a ball sitting down, how it's going to come out. So let's start with that. I'm going to use this tee here as my landing area. Anywhere around that tee will be a good landing area. It should get fairly close to the hole. And the first ball we're going to hit is the one sitting up. Now, because we can get under, it's a little easier to just open the club face, use the bounce. Okay, I just realized I was out of frame, so I'm going to do that again. So we're going to hit this at that tee, pretty standard, club face slightly open, but nothing crazy. I'm just going to let it roll out. Now the greens are aerated, so they're not going to roll very hard. But as you can see, that came out, landed pretty soft right around here. It just trickled out. There wasn't a whole lot of, it didn't do much, right? Just kind of popped up and did its thing. But when we're sitting down, you got to kind of use the bounce. So it comes out a little different. It comes out what I would call knuckly, where it rolls out quite a bit more. Now, because the greens are aerated, you don't really see that today, but if they weren't, that second ball would have run all the way to the fringe, and that first ball would have made it to the cup most likely. So now that you have a decent understanding, basically if the ball's sitting up, it'll pop out, bounce, kind of land softly like kind of a bag of potato chips or a sack of potatoes. If it's sitting down, it'll come out, it'll bounce, it'll roll because you just won't be able to get any spin on it. What happens when we hit medium rough, right? Something like this where the ball's just sitting down just a little bit, but for the most part, it's going to react normal. Just like so. So that kind of landed in a little aeration hole. So we'll try again just so we get a better idea of how it's going to roll out. There we go. Much better. So you can see it kind of bouncing there at the end, but essentially because it's aerated, we're not going to get full effect here. It's just what I want you guys to see is that it's going to bounce. Most likely try to check, but out of the rough, even medium rough, it probably won't grab. And it'll just roll to the cup. So that'll help you with your visualization. Okay, so what happens when we get to dried out rough, like so? Ball sits up pretty naturally. We do have a chip that's running away from the hole, but this is a different version of dried out, where it's just very thin grass. Club sweeps through it real easy. No real resistance between either of these lies. Well, what do we do? How do we approach that? So for me, I'm a huge advocate when the rough isn't strong and you can sweep through it because it's dried out. I just like to play a standard chip shot. The only difference is it's not going to check, so I just play for a bounce and roll instead of check. just like that. But again, the greens are aerated, so they're not doing much, but you get the idea. Okay, so now the same scenario, even wispy or rough, it's not going to do anything at all. But what'll happen with these is it'll actually come out kind of hot. So you want to open the face just a little bit, just a touch to take a little bit of that heat off it, but land it in the same spot. Just like so. So those are both within 3 to 5 feet, which is all we're looking for. And it's a really easy way to play dried out, wispy rough. But what do you do when you get to this juicy rough? Good, juicy rough. Look at that. Spongy, thick, healthy, nice root system. What do you do with that type of shot, especially if we're short-sighted? Well, now we're going to talk about a little more advanced skill. So this may not be necessarily for recreational golfers, but intermediate and advanced golfers can learn a lot from this. And intermediate golfers can too, recreational golfers, beginner golfers can too, weekend warriors. But what we're going to do with the weekend warriors, we're going to simplify everything. So we're just going to get you on the green, whereas with advanced players, we're going to teach you how to get it close. So first and foremost, when we're in thick rough, the most important thing you can do is test it. So what you want to do is take a tight grip on the club, and you really want to hit into the grass. And what we're looking to do is feel the roots. You want to feel how strong the roots are, which is going to dictate how much the club gets grabbed. If the roots are extremely strong, the only way to play the shot is to slide it through using the bounce. So I want you guys to pay attention now. I'm going to take my bounce and find the angle, minimum angle, which that's probably the very, very bare minimum angle I can take, where the bounce will engage the grass and slide through without getting stuck. The key with this is firm grip and aggressive strike. You don't want to be lollygagging with this. You want to hit the ball. So we found our angle. Now we're just going to aim for our club face. We're going to take a tight grip, get all our weight on our left side. We're just going to swing to our target. Just like so. That came out a little dead. So we'll do it again. There we go. Watch back. Notice it comes out high, bounces, rolls out just a little. So with the last two shots, I use my lob wedge. Now we're going to use our sand wedge. Now this is how I would recommend most recreational golfers should do this. I want you guys to take a standard setup. I want you to just slide the club under the ball. Allow the ball to be hit on the top of the club face. Just like that. Now I did hit the pin there. I got a little lucky. But the idea is you will need to build some touch. But notice it hit right here instead of down here. So the idea is when we're in thick rough, just take a little more club and we just let it hit the top of the face to take some of the gas off of it. Just like that. Now, will that leave you with a 6 to 8 footer? Yes, but you're only going to make a bogey from there at worst. Not a double, not a triple, because you flubbed it and then you got an even worse lie, or you're even more short-sighted, etc. Or you blade it and go all the way through the green. Okay, so now we're going to discuss the intermediate to advanced version of all this. So I showed you essentially in the beginning how to use the bounce to identify what to do with the lie, the feel of it. Then I showed you how to use basically different clubs to use the technology to help you to get the ball up without, putting yourself in jeopardy of making a double bogey or worse. Now we're going to combine those two techniques for intermediate and advanced golfers to get close to the hole. So first, we're going to test the bounce, the very tight grip. We found essentially that's the angle. We're then going to come back. We're going to make sure that our face is aimed perpendicular to the angle we want. So it looks like this is my line. And then we're going to swing the bounce that way. Let it pop out right on the front edge of the green. Just like that. And that's how you're going to get it a lot closer. Now, that hit an aeration hole and kicked right and all that, but you guys get the idea. Let's do it one more time. Test the bounce. Sliding through real easy. Hammer club face. Pop it out on the front of the green or hit it just a little short, but you guys get the idea.
All right, just a little bit of a different angle here for you guys so you can see how we cut across the ball to get it to pop out, and then it'll land and stop pretty quickly.
And I also want you to notice where you hit it on the face. Notice how high on the face that comes out. That's because as the club is sliding across, the ball gets trapped here, and it's a glancing blow. So it rolls up the face and then releases with the grass. Final trick of the day. We're going to talk a little bit about crabgrass or zoysia, however you guys want to pronounce it. Stuff you would find in like Kansas and I guess the Midwest. All right, we've all had this lie before where it's sitting up on top of the zoysia. It's not really sitting down in it, and we tend to either go underneath it or we knock it 10 feet past the hole, 20 feet past the hole because we just catch it too solid. So today I'm going to teach you a cool technique for that, and this is the final piece of the puzzle. We're going to take our sand wedge again, and we're going to deliberately hit it in the toe. Okay? The way that works is you set up adjacent to it, swing in similar grass, and you're just going to open the face until you feel as though you're going to capture the toe. From there, you set it up on the toe of the club, aim where you want to hit it, and then you just swing. Comes off the toe perfectly. We are maybe a foot from the hole. So let's do that one more time. And notice, look where I hit it, right here. You're going to feel like we're going to capture the toe. We're going to set it up on the toe. Find our landing spot.
Always that.
Just like that. And again, both shots. Very makeable. Very easy up and downs. Even though the ball was sitting up in what's called crabgrass, which is very grabby grass. All right, boys and girls, thanks again for watching. Next week, we're going to cover something really difficult, which is playing out of this type of stuff. Where it's literally as deep as my ankle. And most guys just don't understand how to get out of it in a very simple manner. So stick around. We'll see you next week. Thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you, guys.